Hello, my friends. How are you today? Let me know if you can hear me. I'll wait just a minute while I get people pulled in. Let's see if we can adjust this. Hopefully today, you guys, we don't have any disruptions. Last week, I had some computer issues, but I think it's because my husband was also using the internet at the same time. So he said today he'll stay off for us. Okay. So if you guys could just let me know if you can hear me or if you cannot hear me, just let me know in the chat. So anyone who is new to my channel, every Wednesday night, 7 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, whatever time it is right now if you're watching this live, every Wednesday, we go live here on YouTube and I answer all your questions. I get lots of questions on Instagram messages, Facebook messages, and YouTube comments and things. So anytime you ask me a question there, instead of taking the time to type it out and probably waste way too much time because I always have so much to say, I just save all the questions for this week or on Wednesday night, and then we answer all of them. So if you are here live, you're welcome to ask anything in the live chat. But if not, I have a big list of questions from things that people have asked this week. So we will get started. One quick thing is, if you saw my video that went live this morning, it's kind of just a long rambly video, but I'll just kind of save you the big, I don't know. There was just a lot that I talked about in there. But basically, I'm changing up a few things in my program. I have a program called Chronically, and it is going to no longer be a monthly program starting August 1st. It's going to just be courses that you buy one-time fee, almost like you would buy a book. You just have the book after that. It's kind of the same thing. So that's just a little update for you guys. Shadow Hudson says, how far along are you now? So I am today 31 weeks and 1 day pregnant. So my pregnancy updates, this Friday will be week 30 will go live. I film them on Mondays and then I post them not that Friday, but the Friday after. I just like to be ahead just in case I don't feel good and I'm not able to get them edited in time. I just like to be a little bit ahead on those. So I am currently 31 weeks. We are getting there, you guys, and I am so ready to have this baby boy here. We are ready for that. Okay, so let's get started with some of the questions we have. The first one, really funny, says, could you answer a question in your next video? Have you had any embarrassing or TMI lots of gas/farting during your pregnancy? So this person wants to know what my TMI pregnancy symptoms are. So I thought I'd answer it in here, even though I probably should answer it in my pregnancy update. I just know I'm going to forget. And so I actually feel like it's totally TMI that my gas is better being pregnant than when I'm not pregnant. And I actually think it's because I don't eat as good. When I'm not pregnant, I usually eat paleo, which makes me smell worse. When I'm pregnant, honestly, I don't have an appetite when I'm pregnant. Nothing sounds good. So I just kind of have to eat whatever sounds good. And so I actually have less embarrassing symptoms like that. However, I still think like it's a really common to have lots of gas when you're pregnant. So don't feel bad if you do. I'm just opposite because I just don't eat as healthy of foods that cause those things. But any other embarrassing or TMI symptoms? I was trying to think. I have like stabbing pain that goes from my belly button to like halfway down my thigh. So I don't know if that to me is embarrassing because it's just like right in this awkward place. So that's embarrassing. And I haven't had any weird like this area, chest area symptoms this pregnancy. I do remember with my daughter, I was like leaking at this stage, but that hasn't happened this time, which is weird because maybe it's just because I've already nursed before. And so my body just already knows what to do and it's just waiting for the baby to get here. That's embarrassing symptoms that I had with my last pregnancy. Haven't happened here. Anything else? Honestly, I feel like my symptoms aren't that like embarrassing, but maybe that's just because I tell you guys everything that happens health-wise for me. And so I just talk about the embarrassing things anyway. And so it's not really embarrassing to me. That's really like all I can think of. I do have some bathroom issues when I'm pregnant, go from constipation, diarrhea, I have all of that. So I guess that can be embarrassing if you don't like talking about those things. So anyway, you guys, we talk about all the things here on my channel that are health related. Let me move this down a little. So yeah, that's fun. I guess I don't know. Nothing's really TMI for me. So that's really all my symptoms that are TMI. Okay, next question. You guys can hear me, I assume. Just someone let me know if you can't hear me. Okay, so this person said, I was wondering if you know, just so you know, people who are new here, I do this anonymously. If you ask in the live chat, I might mention your name because you are writing it here where everyone can see it. If you send me a message, I always do it anonymously just because I don't want to embarrass anyone if they have a question that they don't want other people to know who it's from, basically. So that's why I'm not saying the name of who said the question. So you'll just, if you've asked a question, just listen for your question. I just want to keep people's privacy. Okay, so this person said, I'm wondering if you know if it's a requirement to have experienced POTS symptoms every single time you stand up, or if it can just be most of the time. And so she kind of listed out for me the different symptoms that she had. I won't go through all of them. If you don't know the symptoms of POTS, I actually have an entire video about the symptoms of POTS, so you can go watch that if you're interested in what they are. But she has basically all the symptoms that are typically found in POTS. Just say I'm feeling a little lost, but extremely frustrated with my heat intolerance. I'm wondering if I could really have POTS or if it's just generally not taking care of myself or something. So I'm not a doctor. You guys know that. I feel like I always have to put that as a disclaimer. So, you know, I'm not a doctor. I'm just someone who suffers from POTS and does lots of research on POTS and all the chronic illnesses. But I would definitely say it's not like required to every single time you stand experience POTS symptoms. Like for me, it's sometimes they're worse than others. So I feel like maybe you do feel POTS symptoms every time you stand. You just don't notice them sometimes because they're not as severe. It could be that. It could be that you don't have any sometimes. But she did say that most of the time she has them. So I would assume you probably have POTS. If it was me going through this, I would definitely talk to my doctor about POTS. The big thing to look for is if your heart rate is going up when you're standing, because that's what causes all the symptoms of POTS. So if you lay down and test your heart rate, and it should be normal range, you know, between 60 and 80 or so. I mean, sometimes mine right now has been like 100, my resting heart rate. So find your resting heart rate and then stand up and test it every like 30 seconds, 30 seconds to a minute. And as long as it goes up 30 beats per minute within 10 minutes, then that's considered like how you get diagnosed with POTS, sort of. That's sort of how they diagnose you. They do what's called a tilt table test where they tilt you, but you can just test yourself doing this method. And that's what I did the first time. I didn't even go to my doctor because I had been to so many at the time that I just tested myself. I checked it and my heart rate increased to, 140 within standing. And mine increased pretty fast, like within a minute and a half to 2 minutes. It was up to 140-ish beats per minute. And so I called my doctor and then ended up getting diagnosed with it. But basically, you could test yourself and test your heart rate. If it's increasing, you're going to sometimes have more severe symptoms than others. Sometimes you might stand and feel super dizzy. Sometimes you might stand and pass out. Other times you might stand and feel okay. I personally always wear compression socks, so I feel less symptoms now than I used to, but I'll still feel the symptoms pretty severe when I don't wear them to bed. And so if I get up to go to the bathroom in the middle of the night, I will notice, sometimes I'll get up and go to the bathroom and really not feel that terrible. Other times I have to crawl to the bathroom. So I definitely think it's totally normal to have symptoms come and go. Some days you're worse than others. It could be how much salt you've had that day, how much water. There's a lot of things that could go into causing you different severities of symptoms. So anyways, that was kind of a long explanation, but totally possible. I would definitely talk to your doctor. Again, I can't diagnose you. A lot of you guys ask me if I can diagnose you. Like, do I have this? Do I have POTS? Do I have fibromyalgia? I'm like, I can tell you what I know, but I cannot diagnose you. Okay. The next one says, hi, Amy. I was wondering if you can share labor tips for a chronically ill person. Not pregnant yet, but TTC, trying to conceive. Whoa.
Oh, sorry.
Hi.
Don't mind me.
Husband's here. You just scared me. Do you want to answer any questions?
Sure.
Just kidding. I don't know if anyone has questions for you, but.
Hey. Oh, where's the camera? There it is.
It's right there.
You have 4 seconds.
If anyone has questions for my husband, spouse with chronic illness. Nope,
well,
nobody likes you.
All right. See you, everybody.
Just kidding. I like you. Okay.
Oh, thank you.
Anyway, okay. Person said, trying to conceive number 2. Just waiting for the COVID situation to change. Okay, so labor tips for someone who's chronically ill. First of all, I'm happy to share everything I can remember from my last pregnancy. I will be going through the same process in a couple of months. So if you are trying to conceive now, then you'll definitely hear more tips after I have my baby. I will do a video on this as quickly after I have my child so that it'll be fresh on my mind. Who knows? Maybe I'll do it while I'm in labor. That'd be fun. That'd be fun. Would you guys like to come along while I'm in labor? That would be an adventure. We'll see how I feel about pulling out a camera when I'm in labor. But I will share more tips once I have a baby boy, since it'll be a little more fresh on my mind. I had my daughter, she'll be 2 in October. So it hasn't been that long, but here's my tips. So first of all, it kind of depends on what you have. So just generally, anyone with a chronic illness, some things you want to make sure you do is let your doctor know, your OBGYN know of all your chronic illnesses, let your primary care physician know. And like I work with both my primary care and my OBGYN. And for example, I'll go to my OBGYN and if something just doesn't seem right and it is sort of pregnancy related, but it could be some other chronic illnesses, then he'll send me over to my primary care. So basically we just kind of all work together while I'm pregnant. Same thing when you're getting ready for labor and delivery is make sure everybody knows all the chronic illnesses you have, especially your primary care physician. My primary care knows a lot about POTS, which is one of the reasons why I really like him. He's worked with people who have POTS before. And so it's just nice knowing that my OB knows about POTS. Because I have a lot of chronic illnesses. That's kind of like my number one, you know what I'm saying? Anyway, so definitely let them know and ask them if they have any tips for you for your particular chronic illness. For me, when I was in labor with my daughter, I was actually induced. And I liked that for someone who's chronically ill. I typically don't like to do, you guys know this, I don't take a lot of medications because I have a lot of bad side effects. But I felt like it was worth it for me to be induced because I could be monitored the entire time I was in labor, especially with my heart rate, not knowing where my heart rate would be. It was just so nice that my baby, the entire time from the time I started labor until I had her, I had a heart monitor on her and me, and we just knew everything that was going on. So for me, I really liked getting induced. I have plans to get induced with this one. He could definitely come early. That's always a possibility. But I have already talked to my doctor about being induced with this baby as well. I just really like being in a controlled environment. Another thing you could do if, for example, if I go into labor early on my own, I might go to the hospital earlier than they typically would recommend, just because I'd like to be monitored and just see if they would be willing to take me in early to get things monitored. Because sometimes when you go into labor on your own, they will send you home if you're not progressing very fast. And with baby number 2, typically you progress faster than the first baby. At least that's what I hear. So I probably would go in pretty early, just so that I can be monitored, and there can be doctors there for every step of my labor. And then for POTS specifically, something that I did is my nurse went and got me. So when you have surgery, they put these like little, I don't know why I'm trying to show you this, but they put these little like leg booty things on, and they squeeze really tight, and then they relax and like squeeze tight, and it's to help your blood circulate. And so I personally hate pain. I'm a wimp. I'm in pain all day, every day. And yet I am like the biggest wimp when it comes to severe pain. But I could not go natural with my child. I need an epidural. So once I got the epidural, you can't walk, you can't move. And so I got these basically little surgical booties on my legs that helped circulate my blood while I was laying there in labor. And that was super helpful for me as someone with POTS. If you don't have POTS, it might not help, but that was really helpful. My nurses, I made sure that the nurses in the labor and delivery room knew about my chronic illnesses. I explained everything to the nurses, because for me, I got there at night, and I had one nurse all through the night, and then during the day I had a different nurse. So when the nurses changed, I made sure my new nurse knew everything that was going on. I told her, I have this condition, and this is what happens with this condition. And she's the one that actually recommended the surgical booty things. And that helped me a lot. Other tips is make sure that you have a plan when you go into labor. So obviously I had the plan of getting induced and being in the hospital, but there's always a possibility of the baby coming earlier. And so I had a plan set in so that I knew what I was going to do if I went into labor early. And I had all of my stuff ready. I had my hospital bag ready a few weeks early, just to make sure that if something happened, I'm just ready to go to the hospital as soon as possible. So I think I got my hospital bag ready. It was honestly probably around this time. Like, I think it was like 32 or 34 weeks, just because I wanted to be extra careful. I had everything. And then of course if you are taking any medications that are safe for pregnancy, make sure you have those on hand. I would keep an extra set in your hospital bag so that you have them. You're gonna forget. I promise you will forget. I was anxious going to the hospital, and I was not in labor when I went to the hospital. And so if you're in labor, I know if it was me, I would forget, terrible brain fog. So make sure you have any kind of medication, supplements, things that you need to take ready to go. She just asked for labor tips, but I will say that postpartum is a totally different journey. And I've been doing a pregnancy update every week, and I plan on doing a postpartum update every week for the first 6 weeks after I have the baby as well, because I feel like people don't talk about that. People talk about pregnancy, and some people talk about labor and delivery, like those things get talked about, but postpartum is a whole different ball game, especially of POTS. If you didn't know this, you bleed for a very, very long time after you have a baby. And so it can cause some problems. And lots of other things happen. So anyway, I will be doing postpartum updates because I feel like that's a whole different ballgame. So she just asked for labor tips, but if you guys are interested, I will be sharing postpartum tips as well when I have this baby. That would take up this entire video because there's so many things that happen in that period. Okay. Next question. And again, for that last question, I will be doing more once I have this baby, because I'm sure there's other things that I have forgotten that are important. Okay. Next question. How do you deal with the adrenaline rushes at night? Do you get them in the middle of the night or when you're trying to fall asleep? Okay, so I get night terrors and I wake up, well, I'm like half awake. and this happens to me very often, almost every night. I would say like maybe 4 times a week. I am sleeping and then I open my eyes and I see things in my room that scare me and my heart races a ton, and I typically scream and wake my husband up. Sorry, I was just reading some comments. I'll get to that in a minute. Anyway, I scream, wake my husband up. My heart is beating super fast. And when I scream, it wakes me up all the way. And then I realize that whatever I saw wasn't real. So it's kind of like I'm half dreaming, half sleeping, but I know my eyes are open because I actually have had it happen when I like was at a hotel or something. I was somewhere where I wasn't in my normal sleeping space, and what I see is in the space that I am in. So I definitely open my eyes, but I'm just like half asleep. And so I see things like I'll see the ceiling falling on me. I'll see a snake in my bed, or just like weird things that I see that freak me out. And I scream and my heart starts beating super fast. So I don't typically get it when I'm falling asleep. I usually get it like in the middle of the night. I'll just wake up to my heart beating super fast. And I feel like it's like an adrenaline thing where my heart starts beating fast. And so it like triggers in my brain that something is happening. And then I see weird things. And then I have to calm myself back down in order to go back to sleep. So I know some people that get night terrors who like it literally scares them to the point where they are scared to fall back asleep. And that I don't have any advice for, I wish. But some things that have helped me is when I wear an eye mask. That actually helps me because I think I can't see anything, I assume. But when I wear an eye mask, that helps a lot. I wear an eye mask every single night. And obviously, I just said that it still happens about 4 times a week. And that's because when I sleep, sometimes it slides off, and kind of a bummer, but it just happens. And so that, like, I feel like I can't really avoid it. I haven't found anything that helps me avoid it. I've tried, de-stressing before bed, but I feel like it's just a symptom that I have. And I honestly don't really know how to stop it. But what I do after it happens is I typically, I'm pregnant, so I have to go to the bathroom because I just woke myself up. So I'll typically get up and almost like wake myself up a little bit more, just because for me, when I'm like half asleep or I'm like really, really tired in the middle of the night, I'm like more scared. Does that make sense? So if I like saw someone in my room in my night terror, then like it's hard for me to not like think that was real, even though I know it's not real. Does that make sense? But when I like totally wake myself up, then I'm like, okay, Amy, this is ridiculous. It's just a night terror. It's no big deal. So I'll usually like get up, maybe wash my face, go to the bathroom. And then I almost always wake up my husband. And so he'll usually like snuggle me and try to like help me get my heart rate back down. I'll breathe really slowly, like breathe in through my nose, out through my mouth. Sometimes I will, for me, something that helps calm me down is reading like scripture. And so maybe I'll read some scripture. But I just try to calm my brain down. I try to think about other things. I try not to think about stressful things like what I'm going to do the next day, but I just think about things that bring me peace. Maybe sing a hymn in my head, something like that to just calm myself down. So I don't have tips for you on how to stop them necessarily, except wearing an eye mask. However, again, they fall off because I'm a human and I can't keep it on all night. But anyway, yeah, that's my tips for you for nighttime adrenaline rushes. Do you guys get those? Let me know if anyone else gets those. Okay, I have EDS. My firstborn son, my firstborn son was born 6 weeks early. My husband found the nurses on all shifts respond better to snacks, Snickers, Twix when explaining conditions. That's awesome. Oh, snack size. Better to snack size, Snickers, Twix when explaining conditions. Explain that to me a little bit more. Are you saying you give them Snickers and Twix to help them? Or like you give them small bits of information about your disorder to help them. Like, I don't know if you're using that as an analogy or you actually use Snickers and Twix. Let me know, friend. Okay. Next question. How do you deal with brain fog? Okay, so I have the worst brain fog. I definitely think when I'm treating my chronic illnesses, particularly POTS, it seems to get better. But when I'm having a flare-up, it's almost impossible for me to not have brain fog. So this is kind of like a big question. There's kind of a lot that we could talk about with brain fog. I feel like I need a brain fog video. I haven't done one specifically about brain fog, but I have a hard time when I'm with other people talking to other people. And I mean, even situations like this, right? I can't edit out my brain fog moments of this video. I can't edit out moments when I'm talking to someone. It's not like a YouTube video where I get to go in after and cut out all the ums and buts and cut out any time that my brain went blank. When I'm talking to someone, especially someone that I don't even know how to say this, but I feel like inferior to in a way, like someone that I feel like is smarter than me or has like some authority over me or something, I get more anxious and then my brain fog gets worse. So I have noticed that anytime I'm more anxious when I'm talking to someone, I have more severe brain fog. And so I try really hard to calm my brain down a little bit and be like, okay, Amy, there's just another person. You could say the dumbest thing, and what's the worst thing that could happen? This person thinks you're dumb, and who really cares, right? So that's usually what I go through. What's the worst thing that could happen? It's really not that big of a deal. And so I try to just like calm myself down that it's okay. I can talk to this person and have a brain fog moment and everything's going to be fine. Because I do feel like when I like obsess over it internally, it makes it worse and it's harder for me to think of the words. And then I say a lot. I pause a lot. When I'm talking to people, I try to talk really slow when I talk to people. I don't talk slow here because I guess I feel comfortable talking to you guys and just talking fast. I don't talk slow to my husband. So with my husband, I'll typically say the wrong word, like the wrong word will slip out of my mouth. And that's usually what happens when I talk too fast. And or I will just like stop what I'm saying or say, I can't remember. But I try to talk slower so that I can kind of let my brain catch up with me. That's kind of how I deal with it. And then the biggest thing that I do is just mentally accept that it's okay to have brain fog because like I said, when I stress about it, it just gets worse. So I think the best advice I have for you with brain fog is just allow it. Just let it be part of your life. Laugh about it. If you say the wrong word, if you can't think of the word, just laugh about it. Tell your friend who you're talking to what's going on. Say, yeah, I suffer from this chronic illness. Tell them about your chronic illness and say, yeah, it causes me brain fog and it makes it really hard for me to remember things. And I often forget in the middle of the sentence and it's really funny. Just think of it as a joke. That's what I do. I just have to laugh at myself. Okay, so going back to our candy, we literally handed out a bag of snack-sized chocolate candies for each nurse station round time on the clock. When they came in to click, we explained the conditions with giving candy. Oh, that's cute. That's a great idea. I like it. Okay. Next question, friends. What do you do when you can't get out of bed? It's so hard for me not to be miserable and sad when I feel this way. So I would say this is hard because I don't know. I'm guessing you mean like mentally, what do I do? Not physically, what do I do? I have a video on being a toddler mom with chronic illness, what I do on flare days. I think it's called Motherhood and Flare Days or something like that. If you need it, send me a message and I'll send you the link. But that's where I kind of share what I do as a mom when I'm having days where I literally like just can't get out of bed. I'm so sick. I shouldn't say I can't get out of bed. I could if I wanted to, but I would be miserable and in a lot of pain. And so I don't get out of bed on those days. I put a bed in my toddler's toy room. And you guys watched me know it was totally an accident. We just had this extra mattress because we got a new bed for me, just to help, like just a more comfortable bed so that I slept better, which has been amazing. But so we had this extra mattress that really wasn't that old and we didn't want to get rid of it. So we're just like, well, we'll just store it in this toy room since we have room. And it's been like the best decision. So I love, like from now on, no matter what, like I will have a bed or a couch in every room that I will spend a good amount of time in. So office, kids room, or not kids room, I guess. If we spend a lot of time in the kids room, typically I more spend time in the toy room, of course, the living room, just like making sure we have a bed or a couch where I can lay down. Especially with kids, this person didn't mention kids, but especially with kids where I feel like I can move rooms with them and I'm not like getting uncomfortable. Cause my little one just likes, her brain is just going at a million miles an hour. She wants to be in one place and then she wants to be in a new place. So it's super nice to just know that like wherever we are, I have a place to lay down if I'm having a bad day. But if you're talking about mentally, what do you do when you can't get out of bed? I have had days and times where I'm just miserable. I hate my life. I think, why was I given this trial? This isn't fair. And honestly, I would love to share with you how I've trained my brain to switch from that to, this is not a problem. I can totally lay in bed all day. I have a beautiful, wonderful life just as it is. I have an amazing life laying here in bed. Like that's honestly what I was thinking today as I was laying in bed. I want to share with you right now how to do that, but it would seriously take me like 4 hours. Actually, probably way longer than that. It would take me forever to explain the way that I have changed my brain's thinking. And so I'm going to send you over to my course, Chronically Me. That is where I teach you how to do this stuff. And I have created it into an actual course because it's a lot of information. It's something that I basically took all the expert advice from all the experts on happiness and I adapted it to work for me as someone with chronic illness, because I'd hear things and it sounded like a great idea. And then I try it out. And because of my chronic illness, it didn't work. And so anyway, I've kind of created this very unique system of how I have retrained my brain to do this. And those of you who are in Chronically Me know it's very helpful and it helps a lot, but it takes a long time to explain. So if you want to know how I mentally am okay with my life and happy exactly with what it is, even when I live with pain, that is where you can find that, amyester.com. And I think I mentioned this at the beginning of this live, but just one more time for those of you who are just checking in. Right now, it's a monthly program. It will be a monthly program up until the end of July. So basically, if you sign up anytime in the next few days before July 1st, you'll get the last month of Chronically Me monthly program. Starting August 1st, I'm breaking it up and it's just going to be courses, and you just buy the individual courses. So if you have already been a part of Chronically Me, then I get so distracted when new messages come in. If you've already been a part of Chronically Me, I will be still giving you the courses. So if you, you'll get a much better deal if you are in the monthly program. Anyway, so that was just a side note, but that is how I do that. Okay. Hi, Amy. I love your channel. Thank you. I just started a channel for my port surgery for saline hydration therapy. Excited to hear about this. Oh, excited to check out your channel. That is so exciting. I just love YouTube and being able to share my life with you guys. It just makes me so happy. Okay, sorry, real quick side note, you guys. So if you guys follow Rachel Hollis, I loved her. She's what inspired me to start this channel, and I loved her books, and she talks she talks a lot about marriage, and I am not going to judge her because I don't know her story, but she does promote a healthy, happy marriage. And she just announced, well, she didn't just announce, I actually just found out about it because I stopped following her recently, but she announced at the beginning of the month that she got a divorce. And it made me feel like she was lying to me in a way. And again, I don't know her story, so I'm not judging her. I'm not judging her for getting a divorce or having marriage problems. It's just hard when she talks about how great her marriage is and come to find out it wasn't that great, and she talks a lot about being authentic and being real, and then comes out saying her marriage ended just while she's been promoting for the past few years marriage tips and advice and sharing all the things that she's learned about marriage and how she has such a happy marriage. And so anyway, I've been thinking about that a lot because I am also sharing my life online, and I feel like the only thing I can take from this is that, again, I can't judge her for what she did because I don't know the whole situation, but it just made me realize I want to be very honest with you guys. Of course, if there's something that, I don't know, I'm not having them, but if I was for some reason having marriage problems, I would not come on and promote, how happy my marriage is. I probably just wouldn't talk about it. So if I'm having problems in any way like that, I'll probably keep them to myself. But I just want to try really hard, and I have been this whole time, but I want to try even harder to make sure I'm super real with you guys, that I'm not talking about things that I'm not actually doing myself, those kind of things. So anyway, that's what I'm trying to learn from that experience is I want you guys to trust me. I want you to know that I'm a real person and I am definitely not perfect. I think it's easy to post on Instagram and YouTube and say how great everything is. And for example, I talk a lot about how even though I live with chronic illness, I'm still really happy, but that doesn't mean I'm happy all the time. And you guys see that sometimes I complain about stuff, and sometimes I have bad days mentally where I have a human brain, and even though I have a lot of techniques and tools that I teach in that program about how I can be happy no matter what situation, I still have a human brain. And sometimes I'm not. Some days I just cry about it and I have a pity party. And I want you guys to just know that I am going to try so hard to be real with you and not put on a face that things are better than they are, or that I'm doing healthier things than I'm doing. I am not eating healthy right now as a pregnant woman. I actually have not been exercising recently because of my anemia. I've just been so sick. And so I don't promote those things right now. Exercise is huge to me when I'm not going through something like this. I feel like it helps me so much, but I'm not promoting it right now because I'm not doing it. Anyway, sorry, that was like totally just like a little rant. And again, not to hate on Rachel Hollis. I hope the best for her. I'm very sad for her that she's in this situation. I am so sad for her children. But I'm just going to learn from this to try to be really authentic and real with you, and not just say I'm being real and authentic, but actually do it. Anyway, love how real you always are. That's why I love watching videos. Thank you, my friends. Oh, that was hard for me to hear too. Oh, I know, right? It just like broke me. And I literally heard about it like 2 days ago. I had stopped following her. I kind of go through phases with like life coaching people where like love this person and I love this person. So anyway, but yeah, I read her books and I love them. And I'm just going to keep telling myself, you know what? She helped me a lot. She inspired me to do this. And There are some things I might not trust from her anymore, but I am sure she is still a lovely person. Okay. Anyway, I think I have one more question. Again, you guys, if you're here, you can ask a live question. I have one more and then we'll finish up unless you guys throw any questions there in the Q&A. Okay. You provide good fruit. Proud to call you beloved sister. Oh, thank you. You guys are just the best. Okay. How do you deal with others wanting you to do stuff in the summer? My friends and family don't understand my heat intolerance and hate missing out on stuff. Oh, I hate missing out on stuff. Any tips? Okay. I totally understand this. Summers are so hard for me, especially now that I have a toddler who is to an age where she likes to go out and do stuff and wants to be out. And she would be so happy to be out and about, running around, going swimming and doing all the things all day, every day. Like she just loves to be out and moving, which is how I was as a kid. So I totally understand. And so it's hard for me more in that way than it is with my friends and family. So for friends and family that don't understand, I get this because I have many, and sometimes I feel kind of lame. Like someone's like, hey, I had this group of friends that just recently were talking and they're like, hey, we all want to get together. We haven't seen each other in a while. And with COVID, we want to get together outside. So we're not spreading germs. Because right now where I live, I don't know where you guys are, but where I live, we are technically in the yellow zone of COVID, which means we are allowed to be in small groups. We just need to social distance. So anyway, that's why they wanted to get together again, and they want to do it outside. And it actually was planned for this Saturday. And this Saturday, the temperature is 91 degrees. And I basically told them, I would love to go. You guys plan it. We'll just see how the weather is when it gets closer. And so I texted them just today, actually, and said, you know what? It's 91 degrees on Saturday. I'm not going to make it. I'm really sad. I would love to video call in. And it's hard because these people in this group are not people that I talk to. Like, they're not like friends that I talk to every single day that know a lot about my chronic illnesses. I don't know if they follow me on Instagram or YouTube. I'm not sure. But from as far as I know, they don't know like the details of it, and none of them have experienced it. So it's hard for me not to feel like, I am just being left out, or I don't know, just maybe they don't understand or they don't believe me. Like it's easy for my brain to like go into that place. I don't know where that came out of. It's easy for my brain to go into that place of maybe they think I just don't want to be with them, or, those kind of things. But what I do is I have just decided that I'm going to share what is going on for me. I'm going to share, hey, I have severe heat intolerance. I'm not able to go outside and sit and talk in 91-degree weather. I have so far not found any products or anything that help me stay out for that long. And so I think, it would be best if I didn't come. However, I really want to be with you guys. Basically, I say what I think would help them understand. And then I just accept that they may still not understand. I accept that, you know what, maybe they are judging me. Maybe they do think I don't want to be with them. Maybe all of those things, maybe worst case scenario, but I can't do anything about that. I've explained what I can explain, and now anything else that they think, that's their choice. I can't change what they're thinking. And that's once I realized that I can't change someone else's thinking, I stopped stressing about it. And I just said, okay, they can ask me questions. If they have more questions, I will answer them, but I can't change the way they're thinking. So that's how I deal with friends and family, is I tell them what I think they need to hear, and then I let them make their choice on how they're going to judge me for that, or how they are going to react to that. If they react negatively, that is not on me. That sounds bad, but it's not my problem. because I've done what I think is the right thing to do. And so when I stop trying to control what other people do, it helps me to move on and be okay with that. If that makes sense. And not in like a mean way, just in I can't sit and spend my days thinking about how to make everyone else happy. I just have to make myself happy and do what I think makes me a good friend. And then I also agree that it's hard not to feel like you're missing out. So I would say another thing you could do is maybe you plan the next activity with your friends and family. Plan something like, for example, we have an indoor pool nearby where I live, and it's like an indoor water park thing. And it's like, hey, how about we meet up there next time? And so I will plan something that I know that I can go to. And so that's another way that I deal with that. Okay. I bought one of those cooling vests that you dip in water, but it's not perfect. It does make you damp. I love in Atlanta, though. The humidity makes everyone a little damp in the summer. That's awesome. Okay, you know what's so funny is my family's going camping, and I was like just looking on Amazon today, and I just typed in heat intolerance into Amazon, and that came up. And I was very curious if it worked. So maybe I should get myself one. I got myself one of those little neck fans. You like put it around your neck and then it just like fans you right here. So I'm going to try that. But I might have to try that. We're going to a lake. They're going camping in a lake. And I was just going to leave like later in the evening and stay the night and then leave before it gets hot. But I really want to stay longer so my little one can swim and play. So I might have to try that vest. Let me know how you like it. Okay, there was a question here that I saw. Okay. Any advice for starting a new channel? I'm hoping to also provide more community and support for those of us out there. Okay. Yes, my friend. So, I was so nervous to start my channel. I honestly, for 2 years, I thought about starting a channel, and I watched other YouTubers, and every time I was like, oh man, I love this video they posted. If I did it, this is what I would do. And I have this idea for this video, and I just like wanted to so bad. And the reason it took me so long is honestly because I cared what other people thought, which is so dumb. But I was thinking like, oh, my friends and family will think I'm lame for wanting to be a YouTuber. Like, no one will like me. So first, my advice is, and maybe if you've already started, you're probably over this, and maybe you have a better brain than mine. But my brain just kept telling me I wasn't good enough. But my first advice is just to not worry about what other people think. And I know like everyone says that, but one thing that really helped me was being okay with failing and being really, really crappy at it. So I just like accepted that my first videos were so crappy. I think I might have shared this before, but my first YouTube videos, the first 2 I did, you can go back to the beginning of my channel, and if you watch them, you'll notice I didn't know how to edit. And so I just filmed them over and over again until I could do it without making a big enough mistake that I needed to start over. And like I literally I didn't even know how to cut out one spot of anything in my videos. And so my first 2 videos, I think one was just like explaining my story, and the other one was just like explaining what my channel was about. I remember the one about what my channel is about, I probably filmed like 20 times, and then I just kept doing it over and over again until I didn't mess up. And I was so awkward and so uncomfortable, but that's what got me to be more comfortable, is by taking that step and being uncomfortable. So that's my first thing, is just like, don't worry about how good you are at it. Don't worry about making perfect videos. Just get the content out there and share your story. And then my next advice is just kind of what we were talking about with the whole Rachel Hollis thing, which is just be real, like be yourself. And I've posted videos. I had one in particular that people just hated. Like so many people hated it. I believed in it. I felt like I watched it multiple times after just to make sure I didn't say anything that I didn't believe in. And I still stand by the things that I said in that, but a lot of people were offended by it. They didn't like it. But that's part of being me. Like, that's part of my story, is the things that I believe, and the things that I shared in that video is like, well, I believe this. And me trying to make everyone else happy that's not the way to do it. Because first of all, you can't make everyone happy. There's always going to be haters. There's always going to be people who don't like what you're saying. There's always going to be people who don't like your personality. Like, that's always going to happen. But on the other end, there's always going to be people who do. And there's always going to be people who want to hear you the way you are. I was talking to a friend just the other day about this, and she said she had started swearing more on her social media and that she started losing followers. And she's like, but that's me. Like, I swear a lot, and like, that's just how I am. And so for her, it's like, even though a lot of people didn't like that, there are a lot of people who maybe liked the way she talked when she talked that way. And she just needed to stick with what is her, right? And I think especially when you're talking about chronic illness, a lot of people will give their opinions to you about how you should treat your chronic illness. Or, oh, you shouldn't take that medication. You shouldn't take that supplement with that one. And like I have people all the time tell me like, oh, you have to take iron at the certain time of day. And then like someone else was like, oh, if you have SIBO, you can't take iron. That's really bad for you. And so I'm like, okay, I don't even know what is the right thing to do. And so instead of like listening to what other people have to say, I just make my own choices. Now, I definitely take things that people have said to me and I use it. Like, there's been advice that people have commented and I'm like, oh, that's a great advice. I'm going to try that. There's other things that I'm like, that's a good idea. I'm sure it works for someone. That's not going to work for me. So I'm not going to try it. So just like, don't get too caught up in what people say. That's my other one. And just really be real and be you, and don't try to appeal to everyone. Just be yourself. And that's my best advice, is when you create videos that you want to create, don't create videos that you think, will go viral. Create videos that you want to share with your audience. And like, I have some videos that are doing really well that I did not think would do well. I just kind of like made them on a whim. I have a video called The Symptoms of POTS, and it was seriously just like a random video that I just didn't even think anything of. I was just like, I'm going to put this, and it's one of my really videos that's doing really well. And so like, for me, it's not about like, okay, which video are people going to like and not like? And of course I want people to like my content. I take into consideration what people ask me for content and ask me for things, but I always make sure it's something that I want to share, not just something that I think will help, or I want, that's not that. I want to help people, but not something that I'm just trying to do to get views, or I'm just trying to do to appeal to a certain type of people. I want to make videos that I think will help you and that make me happy. So POTS symptoms videos, how I found you. That's awesome. Yeah, that seriously was one. I think I did a collaboration with a girl. That was, I think, the only collaboration I've ever done. And it was her. She had way more subscribers than me at the time. And I was like, oh, I'm just going to do whatever she says to do. And she was like, I think a POTS symptoms video. And that's literally how that video happened. And it's really funny because it's doing really well. and it's actually a video that I probably would have searched for. Honestly, most of the videos I create are things that I've typed into Google at some point in my life. That's usually the videos I make. Okay, if you're on the lake wearing a bathing suit, it would really help. So my one issue with bathing suits is, okay, I'm pregnant and I'm ginormous right now, but I'm with family, so it's fine. But I don't know what it would be called, I guess sun intolerance, but I also get really sick in the sun. So I think for me, I might just like wear a long sleeve shirt and go jump in the lake and then go sit in the shade to keep myself cool, but also be in the shade. I don't know why, but the sun makes me so sick. Does anyone else have that? Like heat intolerance, we talk about that a lot, but I swear I have sun intolerance. Like I will go in a pool and I'll still get sick at the end. Sorry, I just burped. I'm so gross. But seriously, I will get in a pool and I'm still feeling like I would as if I'd been sitting in the heat. It's super weird. Let's see. I'm not good at editing, but a little bit every time. Yeah, seriously, that's how it is with my YouTube channel. Is when I started, every week I just focused on one thing to learn. So like the second week of my channel, I learned how to just cut pieces out of my video. And I had terrible, okay, my friend Betsy, you need to just go look at my first videos. And I've only had my channel a little over a year, but go look at my first videos and they will give you confidence, because I promise you my first videos are worse than any video you could create. They're so bad. But I just had one goal every week. And like my sound was bad for a while. Up until a couple months ago, my camera was never in focus because it didn't have autofocus and it didn't have a screen for me to see myself. So I couldn't I couldn't see where I was in frame. So like, I think my POTS symptoms video, like I'm down here, like half the video, because I can't see myself and it wasn't in focus. But then I finally upgraded and got a good camera that has autofocus and that I can see myself and make sure like my head is not down here. Anyway, they get better, my friend. That is definitely how it works. Okay, I think that's all the questions I have. I'm excited to check out your channel. Everyone go check out Betsy's channel. If you're watching this in the future, I'm pretty sure the live chat comes up on the side still. So her comments are in the live chat. Everyone go check out her channel. So excited to hear it. Mast cell activation syndrome can flare up in the sun. Histamine shows up red in my skin, making it patchy rash. Okay, that's so interesting. I actually just made a video about mast cell activation syndrome, which I do have. I feel like I don't talk about that enough, which is why I made a video on it. But I do have mast cell activation syndrome, so maybe that's what it is. Like my mast cells flare up in the sun, and then my POTS flares up in the heat. It's just a mess, you guys. Summers, oh man, I'm just a nightmare in the summer. And yeah, my face gets bright red and patchy, and I totally understand how that is. Okay. Sorry, you guys. Sometimes I respond to comments in the live chat, and I feel like I should probably share with you what they are. I'm still learning. So Betsy, I know you're learning how to have a YouTube channel. I'm still learning how to go live because I've only done it for a month or so and I'm still learning. Anyway, you guys, I hope that you guys had your questions answered today. Sorry for hijacking all your comments. Oh, yes. You know what? Come anytime. You can send me all the comments. I love them. Okay, so that's it for this live Q&A. You guys, under an hour. I did good. I always talk way too much. And we had no computer problems this week, so that's really happy. Okay, I'll see you guys next week for another live Q&A. Bring your questions. For those of you who are new, you can ask me a question on any of my YouTube videos. Send me a question on Instagram. Every Wednesday before I go live, I ask on Instagram for any last minute questions too. So if you want to send them there, or you can always come live. Okay, you guys, love you all. See you next week.